Have you ever wondered about real estate investing? Has it seemed too complicated or costly to you? Are you afraid to even consider it? My next guest can put your fears to rest, so stay tuned to hear more. Right now, you're listening to Scientific Healing with Dr. Anastasia Chopelas. I know the power of vibrational healing by combining quantum physics with ancient healing arts to develop my own system that has amplified results for hundreds of my clients and healing students. Discover the simple steps you need to take when working as a healer or a coach to maintain your energy at scientifichealer.com/safe-healing. Okay, back to the program. One thing I've discovered in working with some amazing women is that they might be totally amazing at what they do, yet they help people out tremendously, but are phobic about creating wealth, especially in the healing arts. My next highly talented and accomplished guest, Araceli Hernandez, came through her own struggles transitioning from first a career in engineering, including being a program manager, and then going through a rough transition period to becoming a successful investor of real estate. I cannot wait to hear her story. How about you? She's now teaching other people to invest in real estate to build wealth, including her property flipping school. One of the things that I personally found intriguing was that she has a series of spiritual or energy practices to enhance her business and her success. I'm excited to hear more about these. Welcome to the show, Araceli. How are you today?
Hey, Anastasia, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Awesome. So what made you change your engineering career to become self-employed?
Well, I'm telling you, this is a big, big story because for the longest time, even since I was a baby, I remember taking things apart. My dad's a mechanic, so naturally I went into engineering and I really enjoyed it. Obviously, you have probably guessed that I'm a very logical person. But as a woman, I think I was a very, very unbalanced for the longest time. So when I got to a point in my career in engineering that I was kind of up the ladder and I couldn't go anymore, then I had a couple of transitions happening that really made me change the way I looked at my career, the way I look at the things that I do, because I went through a divorce and then there was a couple changes in my job. And at that point, I realized that I was highly on the logical side and I didn't really use my creative side. And I started to feel sick and I really didn't know where to go. And I started to read books, and more things happen about energy, managing your energy. And I said, I don't know how to do this. And interestingly enough, people came into my life that I never ever thought I would, meet. And I remember being at a networking event, and I have thought about it, I would like to just find somebody that can help me because I don't know where to go. And there was vendors and everything, so I was talking to them, and all of them, they were selling different things. And there was this lady that was selling a wand for your face, right, to make it nicely. And so she'd show me everything, and it was fine. At the end of the meeting, she came to me and she said, you should come to see me. I think I can help you with the healing. And I'm going, what? What are you talking about? I never talked to her about that at all. And interestingly, no, she became a client, a wealth client. And then I started a journey to learn about energy healing. And ever since, my life has changed tremendously. So I cannot explain it to you. It's just like a miracle kind of thing. So
Yeah, well, in healing, the most important thing is getting aligned with your inner self, right?
mhm.
And so if you're not using your creative side, you're unbalanced because your creative side is left brain or right brained, right brained,
Yeah, the right
and
brain. Yeah.
your logical side is left brain. I'm always going which side,
Yeah.
right? And and the connection, there's a connection between the two sides, right? Through the corpus
Yeah.
callosum, there's a connection through the two sides. And if you're not balanced, then you start to tip off balance. And so by being more creative. So, right. So what was the biggest, what kind of engineering? That's has me really curious. What kind of engineering did?
Yeah, I'm a mechanical engineer and I started working in electrical and then I moved into aerospace. So I used to repair landing gear.
So you were
And
a
in
rocket
fact,
scientist.
yes, kind of thing here, right? Not really rocket, but mostly in for the U.S. Air Force. That's the planes that I used to work on. It was a very interesting work. I love it because I love math and I love, materials and all that kind of stuff. But when you go into that side continuously for a very long time, then something happens. I'm telling you, I felt my vibration that it was really high, but not on the good side, right? Like I was highly like always up, but not calm inside. And I didn't like that feeling. And as I started learning how to meditate and do some healing arts like pendulum and healing with rocks and crystals, all of that, it really changed my inside more than anything,
Oh,
right?
I
Because I
can,
still like math and everything else.
yeah, I can tell you from my experience of being in the physics department and working in the I was a
Mhm.
mostly geophysics, that it transforms you into something than you are. Because
Yeah,
in order to be successful, you have to be a thinker rather than a feeler, right?
yeah.
And so it transforms. And but this must have put you in good stead, that logical side, to become a self-employed. So what was the biggest lesson you learned when you became self-employed?
Well, the biggest lesson is that you need to be more disciplined than when you are working for somebody. Because usually, when you go and work for somebody, you have a designated time, you have a designated space, and you have designated tasks that are given to you. When you are self-employed, you are there and then said, okay, where do I start? Right. So it really did help a lot having the background in project management, because that's what I used to do. I used to organize project from, the beginning, where do we start and so on. So that really helped. But for people that I've seen that they transition from being employed to self-employed, it's quite very difficult. So that was my biggest lesson. And I think I should have kind of started earlier on, because I was kind of lost for a little while when I started.
So why did you create your real estate platform to teach real estate investing?
Well, that is interesting because the reason that I started as a wealth advisor is because I didn't know, even though I was, educated, I have an engineering background and I know how to fix landing gear, I still didn't know how to organize my money. We all know how to make money, but we don't know how to organize it to maximize what we could do with it. And as I learned more, I became obviously my first client. And when I started working with individuals, I figured out that it wasn't only me that had this problem, but other people too. And the more that you start to accumulate a little bit of money, then you say, okay, well, what else can I do with it? And I was kind of thrown into real estate when I got divorced and I wanted to get another property. So at that point in time, I decided that a property would help me pay for portion of my rent or portion of my mortgage. And that's what I did. I bought a multifamily unit, and that's how I got started. And then people started to ask me, well, how do you do it? And then I started buying in the US because in Canada, so I live in Toronto, Canada, the prices of homes are very expensive. So as everything appreciated, I couldn't buy anymore something that didn't make any sense again here in Toronto, the like the first home that I bought. So I started buying in the US and people started asking me. And I said, okay, so I need to put something together for people to actually go through the process that I went through. And that's how I created my school.
Awesome. So, so what makes you different than other people teaching real estate?
Okay, so the one thing that I've noticed, first of all, uh, the programs that I've seen, they are extremely expensive. They give you a ton of information that is not relevant for the person that is a beginner. They don't give you step by step, but they also don't give you how to prepare with goals and with your finances before you actually get into real estate. Everybody wants to get into real estate, but they don't know how to prepare. This is the biggest thing that I found, and that's the piece that I added into my course. Because if you are prepared, you have so much more chances of making it than if you are not.
Yeah, I've seen so many of those advertised, no money down, and then they have a script. And so they go around to all the homeowners, and the homeowners have heard the same script 5,000 times.
Exactly, exactly. So, yeah, they make it look like it's so easy and that you can just buy with somebody else's money. But they don't give you really the step by step. I actually tell you how you can start buying with other people's money, but I tell you what you need to do, something that you can do. Because when somebody told me that I could buy with other people's money, I just, okay, so what people, where is the money? How are they going to give it to me? Like, I had no idea at all. And I think it is deceiving. It's kind of like a marketing gimmick that they kind of attract you, but they don't really give you the meat and potatoes. And this is what I want to go to and just make it practical so people can understand it and do it. That's
Yes.
why that's my mission.
So did you do any of the fixing up or did you organize it? Did you flip
What do you
anything?
mean to fix it?
Well, you taught,
Yes, I did. I have flipped over 12 homes in the US. And I also am actually working on a duplex that I'm going to be renovating that I'm going to keep as a fix and flip right now. So I have done it. It's not something that I just read in a book and I can tell you how you can do it, but it is actual things that I have done in the past and I can give you all my experience. Anything that I have done incorrectly, uh, I can tell you what the solution is, things like that, that it's very practical for someone that want to get started.
yep. I've also flipped properties. You may or may not know that. And
Well, this is one of the things. First of all, I really tell you that I really resonate a lot with your story because it's very similar to mine. Coming from a highly technical profession and moving into the healing arts. Like I'm not a healer per se, but I do a lot of meditation and I work with crystals and I have a Reiki master and so on, because I'm very interested on managing my energy. Uh, but knowing as well that you flip homes, it's amazing, and I'd like to know more about what you did.
yeah, I was in Texas, so I had some cash from selling my house in where did I sell it? Oh, I sold it in Seattle, and I had about 300,000 in cash. So I bought whole houses in Texas for like 70, 80,000 and then sold them for a bit more, and had to organize all of the fixing up and make sure, because really the profit is in the house is the price you pay compared to the price of the neighborhood, right? And people don't realize it,
Absolutely.
right? There's one house here in my neighborhood. Okay, so it costs for a 1,200 square foot house, it's somewhere
Yeah.
between 1.2 to 1.4 million, even if it's not fixed up, right? And so people
Yeah.
think they can flip those and you can't.
No.
Somebody tried
Yeah, that
around
is
the
exactly.
corner. Yeah,
Yeah,
somebody
that's
tried around
exactly
the
where we met.
corner and it's just sitting on the market at too high of a price.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah.
Now everybody wants to kind of capitalize on the appreciation, but sometimes it cannot be done. And this is the same thing that is happening here in the Toronto area. And that's why I decided to go to the US. I flip houses mostly in Ohio. And even then, now it's starting to pick up as well, but it is more easily available houses and a lower price for sure. So,
Yes, like it's really hard here. Here, the only way they could do it is that you have to be the whole agency, like
yeah.
be able to sell so you don't have to pay commissions out. Be able to have your own escrow in there so you don't have to pay that out. So the profits actually made in the being able to do all of that other stuff themselves.
Yeah. So
Because
the really the profits have been shrinking. So therefore now you have to have more knowledge. Before, even if you didn't have a lot of knowledge, you could just flip them. But now, and that's why I created the property flipping school, so people can know what are the steps that they need to follow so they don't skip it. So people now have to be a little bit more knowledgeable about the process in order to make money.
and it's hard work. It's not
Yeah.
easy.
Oh yeah.
It's
Oh
really
no,
hard work.
no,
It's not like they
absolutely.
show it on TV. Oh, we'll just go in there and we'll just swish, 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 put on a little paint, do the new trims, and then you're done. Or
Yeah.
move this wall and, knock that one down. It's not that easy.
No, not that easy. You really have to have a lot of planning. And that's why I always recommend people to really understand the process, but also you have to utilize the skills that you have. Some people have, for example, for me, I had a lot of project management, which it really helped me understand the process from, one, two, three, four steps. But I also have a very good eye for organizing and doing some what is it called, staging. So I know combinations of colors and things like that. So those are things that it just came natural to
So,
me.
okay, so that's where your energy and creativity show up. Like when I
Yes,
walk in a house, I know exactly what needs to be done to make it comfortable. So when somebody walks in, goes, "Oh, wow, this house is really awesome." Right?
exactly, right.
Right. And so
So
that's your superpower.
exactly. So those kind of things, you really everybody when they come to my school, I ask them, what are the skills you bring to the table that are going to help you get that superpower? Because if you don't have that knack to say, well, this color goes with this color, and I've seen houses that are well done, but the colors are totally off. Things are they're just not flowing properly, and you don't feel at ease in the home. So all of these things you really need to have a knack for it, right? Also, a knack to talk to people, because you need to organize a lot of trades, people coming in the house, and whether it's the stager, whether it's the realtor, a mortgage broker, everybody that is going to be involved in the transaction, it has to have a place, and it has to be organized, and it has to be dealt with. So all of these things takes some art and some technical things to
Yeah.
do.
So
So
you teach people, you have a system that you teach people to do so they don't have to be
correct.
afraid of losing their shirt when they go in to your school.
That is correct. So no, I teach exactly, first of all, how they need to prepare, what skills they need and they can utilize. And then starting to pick in the location, because it depends where you are, right? Like the pay depends also on your own personal circumstances. Some people, they work two jobs, they have 10 kids. I don't know what their time frame is, because you have to dedicate time. And this is not something that you want to just get into and don't put any time. It's
Yeah.
like anything in life that we do, we need to dedicate the time to become good, to have that experience and practical things that you normally do to become better and better and better.
Yeah.
And you can
So
only do it by doing it.
yeah, so just to summarize, the good tip now, because real estate's gotten so tight and so expensive, is to be prepared. right? To know
Yep.
what your market is, where you're going into. You can't just buy any old dumpy property and expect that it's going to work.
Yes.
Because I remember when I did this in Texas, I looked at like 20 to 30 properties and
Oh
looked,
yeah.
right, and looked in the neighborhoods. And in Texas, because most of the homes are slab, and Texas gets a lot of rain, like the bottom, the floors would buckle. So if they were
Hmm.
cheaply built, you could go into a neighborhood where the floor was completely buckled. That meant that the whole foundation, you needed to start over again. Basically, the house was a tear down. And most of them were like that. The ones that were on the market for very little, that was the problem, right? So those are some of the things. And also knowing how you give them lessons on how to manage and how to, right?
Hmm.
And how to first buy their property, then how to manage and what to do inside to really make it so people can feel confident that at least even in their first property, they're not going to end up upside down.
Absolutely. And that's why it's so important for people to actually get prepared. There's certain things that are technical that you need to know how to analyze the property, what type of property you're getting into, because you mentioned something very, very important, specifically in that area in Texas. But other areas have other different things that you may need to watch for. So understanding the area, even the laws of that specific city, county, whatever it is you're going to be, they have certain requirements. I found in some areas in Ohio that certain areas they have something that is called a POS, which is a point of sale. And that means that every time that you list a property, the city will come and inspect and tells you what to fix. And you cannot sell the property until that is fixed. And
Wow.
that puts a big, big think that sometimes they're very unreasonable, so you really have to watch for that, and they could really ruin whatever you already budget for. If you have to redo driveways, for example, that becomes very costly, and there's nothing you can do because the city is dictating that scope of work. So those things you really need to be aware, the laws that are in that area that you want to flip, the type of properties, and obviously what is required by the market. Because if you over improve or under improve, it's not going to give you the right amount of money. So
Yeah,
there's
that's
also
also an important
technical
point,
things.
is understanding the neighborhood,
Yeah.
right?
So all of that is in my course, and that's why I said to people, really invest in yourself. And right now, more than ever, that things are tighter and tighter. Therefore, you have to have more knowledge in order to be successful.
Exactly. And you specifically target women, right? Wealthy women and realestate.com.
Yeah, so that is how I started, because my target market, mostly in my wealth advisor business, it's mostly for people that have transitioned. And most of the people that I have as clients are people that were divorced and they just didn't know what to do. And that's how I started learning that now women are actually taking over the finances in the household. And it's because, first of all, if you don't know about this, in insurance, for insurance premiums, usually insurance for women it's cheaper than for men. And the reason is because statistically men live less time than women. So for all those ladies that are listening to it, if you're not managing the finances in the house, at some point you will. So the better you start knowing what it is going on, the better off you're going to be, because then you have time to make some changes and understanding what is going on. So
Yeah. So a lot of people that are listening are right brained, right? They're
yeah.
creative, they're healers, they are thinking in colors and things like that. Whereas even though we were born that way, we got into something more technical. And so we had to balance the two sides. So the thing is to not be afraid of it, because the technical number thing can be learned. And with all of the computer programs that are available, you just plug things in and let them go, right?
Exactly. So, for the people that are listening that are, like you said, in the right side mostly, they are very afraid of looking at numbers and they get overwhelmed. And I'm going to tell you, please just take that away, because there's so many things and so many people now that can help you. Don't be afraid to do it, because if you don't do it today, it's going to catch up. So you really need to take a look at your finances, organizing your money, take a look at how you're investing, because investing is for the long term. You don't want to wait until later to get started, because the reason that it's called investing is for that reason, because it's a long-term planning. So the sooner you can look at it, you can either find a financial advisor, a wealth advisor, somebody that you trust, that is going to help you organize this thing. It doesn't have to be difficult. So believe me, it is not difficult. I do help a lot of women. I find that women are very right brained, and I do it in a very, very easy manner. So it's not overwhelming. And I help every step of the way so they can get themselves organized, because it pays
That's
off for sure.
Yes, it does. Awesome, Araceli. So for people to connect to Araceli, you can learn about her at her website, Araceli Hernandez. It's Araceli Hernandez.com. A no punctuation, where you can learn about her, and you can sign up for her super awesome, highly informative free training at www.wealthywomenandrealestate.com. And you will get an easy to follow blueprint for real estate investing. So you can then figure out and decide whether it's for you. And she is offering this for free. And it will all be
Yeah.
in the show notes. So check out the show notes. So Araceli, it's been a total delight having you on the show and letting you describe how it's not that hard to, if you have the right steps plotted out in front of you, it's not that hard following it step by step to really invest. And then the investing is in yourself, right? So you don't end up in dire straits. I know for me, my real estate experience, like most of my wealth has come from real estate. Like every time I sold a house, I got more money, right? I've like
Exactly.
bought and sold like 14 or 15 houses at this point in my life. So it has really grown my wealth, right? And so all I
That
can
is
do is
amazing, and that is the best vehicle that I have found that could provide easy cash. Well, easy in a manner of speaking, that you still have to go through the process, but there's chunks of money that you can get every time that you flip a house, or you can get continuous money when you rent a property as well as cash flow. And that helps quite a bit for people that are looking to supplement their retirement income. Lots of things that you could do. Is very flexible. So and I really appreciate you having me here. Uh, Thank you so much, Anastasia, for doing this show. I think it's incredible for people to learn more about what you do, which I'm
uh,
fascinated by it.
you're most welcome. So thank you for listening to Scientific Healing, and for our wonderful guest, Araceli Hernandez. You can sign up for her free training again at www.wealthywomenandrealestate.com. There's no punctuation in that between the dots. Check the show notes for the link. And let's you and I connect. Go to www.highpaidhealers.com and sign up for your free masterclass on the 3 steps to becoming a highly paid healer. And some of you that help healers heal others intuitively or energetically are always giving up too early attracting new clients into your practice. That's the number one problem that I get, is how do I attract new clients? So when you're ready to move forward with learning the science and art of profound healing, I invite you into a conversation right now to discover the possibilities available to you. I have reserved time on my calendar at scientifichealer.com/appointment. This is Dr. Anastasia Chopelas. Until next time.